Alright, what's going on, everybody? It's Falcon the Wrestler here again for another video. Yeah, I have not made one of these screen videos in an extremely long time. And today, I'm going to be talking about my final Tekken 7 tier list. Because we all know that Tekken 8 is going to be coming out in just a few weeks now. So I thought it would be a good idea to make a final tier list and basically kind of talk about it. Now, originally, I was live streaming this tier list, and I think I got through, like, more than halfway through the entire thing. But unfortunately, the stream quality was not good. My voice was going in and out, and I was rewatching it. It just didn't, it was an entire mess. So I decided that I'm just going to record it, do it like this, and, yeah, we'll just do that instead, because I feel like this is a lot easier, and unfortunately, my laptop just wasn't strong enough. It is what it is. But, yeah, things happen, and I'm going to have to remake it, but, it is what it is. But, yeah, let's just go ahead and let's just get right into it, honestly. So, we'll just start with S tier, and then we'll just go all the way down to D. So, starting off, we got Akuma. Now, Akuma, by the way, this isn't in any particular order. Like, I'm not saying that Akuma is the best character, then Claudio, then Zafina, then Marduk. This isn't in any particular order, because all these characters, like, this game is very well balanced, so it's really close, right? Like, there are some characters that I was debating putting higher or lower. I just wasn't sure, but Akuma was a clear S tier for me. Though fundamentally wise and poking wise and frames wise, he's not the best character. He makes up for that with his disgusting meter shit. Once he gets meter, and if you have the execution, this character absolutely breaks. He breaks the rules. He has a 10-frame launcher in his jab, if you cancel it. He's got a broken-ass down 2, one of the best keep-out moves in the game. His down 3 is an unseeable low launcher that on hit kills you, and if you block it, I think it's plus 5 to 7. I don't know exactly the frames it's between there. His damage is absolutely broken. His 2D jump is absolutely broken. All the 2D jumps are broken. The fact that none of those have been nerfed is crazy to me. And with meter, this character is absolutely nutty. I mean, we all know, we've all seen all of Akuma's shit. We know how annoying he is. Now, with that being said, he is very difficult to play. He does take very high execution. But we've seen people master these combos, these death combos, and these mix-ups. And if you have the execution, this character is easily one of the best characters in the game. Easily. I mean, he breaks the rules of Tekken. Again, the only thing really that is lacking is some of the poking. With outside of meter, he's not the best character. But he does still have some fundamental tools. Like, he has a workable jab. His down 4-1 has extensions. It's serviceable. His forward 3 is actually a very good poke. He has a forward 4, which is kind of like a magic 4 to a certain extent. Forward 4 is a decent tool, even though it no longer counter hit launches. It's still good. His jumping mix-ups are still really annoying and dumb, especially if you have a character that can't float him very reliably out of it. The best way usually you can beat the jumps is with jabs, but it's not very consistent. So you gotta keep that stuff in mind. But overall, Akuma he's an absolute beast. He does take skill to use, but if you have the execution, this character is easily one of the best. Next up, I got Claudio. Claudio, to me, is kind of... Some people might disagree with me on this. Some people might think he should be lower. And Claudio's a character where if you wanted to put him maybe in A tier, like at the top of A, I'm fine with it. I don't have any issues with that. But this character is fucking ridiculous. He's absolutely ridiculous. And he is super, super easy. And so consistent. Let's talk about some of his moves, right? Now, one big weakness for Claudio is, again, poking-wise, he's not the best character in this department. He doesn't have like a 13-frame down for 1. His down for 1 is 15 frames, right? That's okay. That's a problem. But he has back 3, which is a great, it's a good 13-frame mid. It's a knee. It has a delayable extension, which is unsafe, but it's a counter hit launcher. So that's going to keep you from pressing after back 3. Very good. And his other tools. His back 1, you could argue is the best mid in the game. I mean, it's literally perfect. Super long range mid, right? Super fast, knocks down a regular hit, wall splats. Homing, you can't step it. Incredible range, and minus, what, 5 on block? And not only is it minus 5, Claudio takes a step back. So it kind of like, it's not even like terribly bad on block. You can kind of, you know, it kind of resets the neutral a little bit. The move is perfect. There's literally nothing wrong with it. And also, it screws mid-air opponents. Not a small detail. Also, his hop kick is ridiculous. It's absolutely nutty. We all know that. His sidestep 4 is absolutely nutty. It's literally a perfect low. There's nothing wrong with it. And previously, he didn't have that kind of low. His lows usually were very, very bad. But that's because his mids were so strong and so perfect, right? And he's so easy to play and is so consistent. His wall running 2 is one of the best wall running moves in the game. It is a high, but other than that, the move is pretty much perfect. Nothing really wrong with it. And it does the new tactic thing on block. So next to the wall, it's like plus 1,000,000, which is insane. Damage is great. His wall combo is really good. His Oki is solid. And his Starburst is very unique. And it gives him access to one of the best whiff punishers in the game. Forward 1+2, 1+2. Fast, long range, mid string. That's even if they block it, it's perfectly safe. Down 1-2. A lot of people don't use that, but that's a really good move. Natural combo mid wall splat. That's really plus on block. Again, I don't know how plus, but it's very plus. And a lot of people forget about his down 4-3. His down 4-3 series, down 4-3-1 is so easy to hit confirm. And it knocks down wall splats. I think it's minus 12 to 13. But if you're hit confirming it, that's never going to get blocked. And he also has a down 4-3-2, which is a high. But most people aren't going to duck, especially near the wall, because of his godlike mids like that and his back 1. And 4-4-4 also is a very good mid. Really, Claudio is he just has a bunch of perfect attacks, and he's so consistent. So that's why I had to put him in S tier. Now, again, poking, not the best, but his moves are so perfect, that's like he doesn't even necessarily need it. So, again, Claudio, controversial. You could put him lower if you wanted to, but I think he's S tier. Zafina. Zafina, easily one of the best characters in the game. I don't think this is up for discussion. She's, again, pretty much perfect. The only thing that really she's lacking is her hop kick is really bad, and she doesn't have a 15-frame launcher from standing. Her down 4-2, though it is incredibly strong, it's 16 frames. But the range on it and the fact that it launches crouching opponents is super good. And combine that with the best movement in the game. Her movement is literally like Tag 2 or Tekken 5. It is absolutely fucking insane. She has the best movement in the game. And you combine that with her down 4-2, that alone is crazy. And she also has some very strong gimmicks. A lot of people don't play this character, at least online they don't. You see this character all the time professionally, but online, this character isn't played very often. So no one knows the matchup, which really helps her. And even if people do, and know the gimmick she has very solid fundamental tools. And homing moves, right? And just poking and evasiveness. Her down 3 is one of the best lows in the game, in my opinion. Super long range, evasive, counter hit launcher, minus 13, I think, on block. That low's God's here. 4-4-4, amazing homing move, perfectly safe. Down 4-1 is solid. Her down 4-2 I mentioned is godlike. Back 1+2, incredible low. Man. And again, she has the gimmicks. She does have the gimmicks if you don't know the matchup. So, yeah, Zafina, I mean, the movement alone really puts her extremely high. That really, really helps her. Oh, yeah, and her wall combo is also insanely high. And, yeah, her 4-4-3 is an incredible mid as well. I forgot to mention that. Plus on block, I think counter hit launcher. Yeah, really, really cheap. But, yeah, Zafina, really perfect outside of the 15-frame launcher from standing. That's really the only thing I could find for her. That's a weakness. Let's see here. Marduk. Marduk is, dude, this character's ridiculous, man. I mean, his damage alone is broken. His Oki is the best in the game. I mean, maybe you could argue Akuma, but man, dude, Marduk, man. Like, if you get up wrong, he's gonna down forward 1 your ass. His down forward 1 is one of the best in the game. The range on it is broken. His ground throws are insane. He has a complete throw game. His tackle is really annoying to deal with. And his mids and his lows. Again, Marduk really has everything. Again, the two things, however, that do make Marduk, more tolerable, I could say, One is, again, he kind of like Claudio. He doesn't have a functioning, like, down forward 1 mid check. He doesn't really have that. His fastest mid is down forward 4, but it's super sluggish, and as a poke, you really shouldn't be using that as a poke. But again, kind of like Claudio, he has these almost perfect mids that really make up for that. But again, and his lows and throws are ridiculous. So again, it's not like he even needs a down forward 1. He doesn't even really need it. He doesn't even need it. And also, while standing punishment, a little lacking in the while standing punishment. More specifically, launching, because his while standing 3 is 18 frames. But he got up forward 1-2, which is an incredible 12-frame punish, and you can use it from while standing because it's an up forward command. Not a small detail. So mids-wise, you have down back 2, you have up forward 3, back 4, back 3, core circle forward 1, his down forward 1, obviously, back 2, safe homing mid counter hit launcher with, again, hits from across the freaking planet. And lows wise, he's also complete. He's got down 3, down 4, down back 3 series. He has a freaking hell sweep. He's got full crouch down forward 4. Again, lows wise, again, he's complete. The only two things that really is lacking on him is the down, 13 frame, the poking and the wall standing punishment. Oh, yeah, and his rage drive is arguably the best in the game. His rage drive is actually broken. So, yeah, not a small detail either. Let's see here. Feng Wei. Feng really is, again, he's perfect. He's arguably the best character in the game. He literally has everything you need in a character. He has it all. And he's not the easiest character to play, but for how complete he is, and how strong and consistent he is, he's actually not that hard to use. To me, Feng Wei has always been an easier Jin. They're both incredibly strong, but basically, this Feng is basically for people who want a character like Jin, but they don't want hard work. That's basically Feng Wei. He has everything. His mids, his poking, his freaking evasiveness, his lows are some of the best in the game with down back 3, down 2 is broken, down 4 is solid. He has an unseeable snake edge, sidestep 4. Yeah, lows wise, he's complete. He has a core circle forward 1 for a low, which is a shoulder, so it can't be low parried. But it is relatively unsafe depending on who you're fighting, so keep that in mind. Mids wise, he's complete. His down forward 1 is one of the best in the game. Up forward 2, one of the best panic moves in the game. His back 4 is god tier. Freaking back 1, one of the best panic moves in the game. His tempo stance is ridiculous. Even though it has been nerfed, it's still solid. Down forward 3 plus 4 is very good. He has a safe launcher and down forward 3. His punch parry 1 plus 2, one of the best in the game. It's like, and his combos. His combos used to be a weakness. He used to have weak combos, but then they give him down forward 4-3, and now he has some of the best combos. The only thing that I could even think of that's lacking with him is hop kick. His hop kick's range is really weak. But other than that, I mean, he still has a hop kick, so keep that in mind. But other than that, this character is perfect. Actually perfect. Like, if you lose with Feng Wei, it's your fault. He has everything you need. And I've been playing Feng for a long time now, and yeah, he has never been this strong. He's always been solid, but not to this extent. And they just keep buffing him, which is stupid. But yeah, Feng Wei, godlike. Geese, also a godlike character. Again, he has been nerfed constantly throughout the Tekken 7 series, but even with all the nerfs Geese has received, he is still one of the best characters. Why? Because of his absurd freaking damage. It has been nerfed, but my god, he could still def combo you. He still has that busted 2D jump, which is, again, broken. And poking-wise, he has been nerfed here, but he could still kind of work without meter. He does have the fundamental tools that most characters have, like a functioning down for 1 and counter tools. Though again, they have been nerfed. They're still, they're still there. Though down for 2 is not really that useful anymore. Yeah, that sucks. And also, again, outside of meter, range-wise, okay, not the greatest. But again, once he gets meter, that's when, again, the character becomes absolutely insane. His back 3-2 is one of the best launchers. He has a safe launcher and freaking forward 1 plus 2. He's just solid, man. And if you hit anyone with that standing 2, if they're good and there's walls, you're going straight to the wall. And his wall pressure is insane. His sidestep 3 is super good low. Again, it has been nerfed, but it's still strong. Again, it's just like the character is just solid. He's solid. Again, he's not as good as he used to be, but he's still one of the best characters. That's for sure. Jin to me, again, is really just a perfect character. Again, just like Feng, he has it all. Everything that I pretty much mentioned with Feng, you can say the same thing for Jin. The only thing that Jin lacks is range on his 10 and 12 frame punishes. That's it. Other than that, he's perfect. He has the mids, he's got the lows, he has a Mishima Electric, the Mishima Wave Dash, 50-50 mix-up, has a complete throw game, great combos, great Oki. Though, again, it has been nerfed, it's still solid. Again, what can't Jin do? He has everything. Lows, he has down 4, down back 4, down 3-3 is usable. He has the Hell Sweep. It attracts both ways for some annoying reason. You can't really step Jin as much as you can like Kazuya or even like a Heihachi do it for an example. Back to one of the best strings in the game. Has a down forward 1. Oops. He has the Laser Cannon, a Demon Paw, 4-4-3, CD1, up 4-2 is ridiculous. Up 4-3 is solid. Yeah, it's like, again, what can't Jin do? He's got everything. He's got an easy 15 frame punish with can and hop kick. And wall standing punishment, he's got the wall standing too, which is one of the best wall standing punishers in the game. Yeah, Jin is insane, man. The only thing also that does hold Jin back is not necessarily a character problem. It's really a player problem because he is very, very hard to use. Very hard to use. Most people don't play well with Jin because he's so complicated. Because, again, he does take execution. And, again, he has so many tools to work with. But it's like you need to know when to use those very good moves. I mean, I haven't even mentioned all of his good moves because, like, almost everything is super good with Jin. And that's what makes him hard. So, really, another big problem with him, again, isn't a character problem. If a robot was playing Jin, he would easily be one of the best characters. Like, no question about it. So, yeah, Jin, man, I mean, got everything. There really is no problems really with Jin outside of the range issues on some attacks. Oh, yeah, and let's not forget forward 4. I mean, one of the best mids in the game. I don't know how I forgot about that move. And there's so many other other moves, but it's like, I don't know if I have to go through every single one. Julia. This character's so fucking stupid. She has been nerfed a little bit, but she's still one of the best characters. Her forward 1 is arguably, again, one of the best mids in the game. Again, it literally does everything. Super fast, super long range, tracks both ways for some reason. You can't parry it. It's got great frames. It has a delayable extension, which is a counter at launcher. It's high, but most people don't duck Julia because of the mids. And in combos, it's one of the best moves in combos. Again, the move has literally no shortcomings, and the fact that move did not get nerfed is ridiculous to me. That move alone puts her, I think, in S tier. But yeah, combo-wise, she's ridiculous. Her mix-ups are super annoying and dumb, though again, has been nerfed a little bit, still strong. And again, really, she just has everything. Everything you really need in a character, again, she kind of has it. I can't really think of a mega weakness for her. She's got great keep out as well, has an incredible magic 4. Her 1-1-1 is a great 10 frame counter hit combo string that wall splats. Has a solid throw game. Solid lows. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Julia's ridiculous. I really can't find a weakness for her. She really has everything. Now, obviously, I don't know Julia as much as like these other characters, but I just know that she is fucking ridiculous. And she's nutty. But that's Julia for you, the freaking Twitch streamer. Kunimitsu. Kunimitsu is also, I mean, she has also been nerfed a little bit, but she also still is one of the best characters in the game. And I feel like she has a style that's kind of similar to Zafina in a way, where has very solid fundamental tools, has some gimmicks if people don't know the matchup. But again, the fundamental tools, like she has those. And her movement, again, her movement is Zafina level stupid. you can argue she has the best movement in the game. That's, again, that and her down 4-2 is also insanely good. And I think it's 15 frames. It's not 16 like Zafina's. Big freaking big deal. Like, huge deal. She has some counter hits. That dashing 2 option. Is it 4-3-2 or 4-4-2? One of those moves. Lightning fast mid counter launcher that hits from across the stage and is perfectly safe on block. And wall splats. Not a small detail. She has the full crouch mix-up and her sweep. Great combos. I mean, the only thing really that she could be lacking is, again, lows-wise, not the greatest, and she does have to take some risks. But if you're counter hitting people all fucking day and have good fundamentals and movement, you don't even necessarily need the lows. Necessarily. Oh yeah, and her power crush, though it got hit pretty hard, it's still one of the best power crushes. It's still so fucking irritating to deal with. Yeah, her Oki is really strong too with that full crouch mix up. So again, Kuni can really do anything. She can really do anything. And again, her movement alone is just, it literally is broken. Like, her movement is literally tagged too. So yeah, again, yeah, we see Kuni all the time. I always see Kunis. And it makes sense. And she's also very easy to play. She's relatively simple to play. She doesn't take much execution, so that helps her. Leo. I do not understand why people don't talk about this character. Leo, again, has everything. Like, tell me something Leo can't do. Great mids, great lows, solid punishment. Her 11-frame wall staying punishment, arguably the best in the game. That wall staying punishment is so fucking strong. She has, great stance mix-ups. Again, I don't know a ton about the character because, again, we don't see Leo at all, really. But it's just like, Leo is so underrated. So underrated. And so easy. Leo's very easy to play. I really don't understand why we don't see this character as much as we should. Like, this character's crazy. Has great mix-ups. Back 1-4 is a great pressure string. Her down 4-1, his down 4-1, it is a he, I forgot about that. His down 4-1 is, not the greatest, but it's still solid. Has a demon paw, down 4-3. Of course, I'll go 4-3, 3+4, up 4-3. Mids-wise, yeah, he's complete there. Oh yeah, down 1 is one of the best counter hit tools in the game, in my opinion. It's super long range, very fast. Only -2 on block, by the way. A pretty freaking big deal. And down 2 is a good pressure move. Lows-wise, he has a homing hell sweep for some reason. Corsical 4-1 is good. Down for 2+3 is an incredible low. Has a full crouch sweep. And his wall combo is arguably also one of the best in the game, with 4-4-3 into the stance 2 option. Super high damage and super good Oki afterwards. That wall combo, the thing with Leo is that no one really talks about him, but he is insanely freaking strong. Insanely strong. And so easy and consistent. So I'm surprised we don't see Leo as much as we should. He's crazy. Alright, so that was basically my S tier. So I think, how many characters? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, well, actually 10 characters, that's fine. So yeah, this is my top 10. Again, it's not in any particular order, but I think these are the top 10 characters in the game, in my opinion. Like I said, if you want to agree, disagree, be neutral, again, we can have a conversation. So next up, we've got A tier. First up, we got Steve. Steve, to me, is a character where if you wanted to put him in S tier, I'd accept that. I think Steve is incredibly strong, incredible pressure, incredible stance pressure, like in frames, incredible counter hits, has a very solid mix-up near the wall. I mean, we all know about Steve. We all know what he's going to do. He tracks a lot for some reason. You can't step him. His keep out is some of the best in the game. His back 1 is insane. But the big thing with Steve, in my opinion, is, again, the lows, especially when there's no walls, lacking. Throws, lacking in that department too. So opening up a turtle, yeah, is not the easiest thing to do with Steve, but he has that guard break that sometimes people forget about. He's got that guard break that, he basically can force that mix-up on you to break your guard. Not a small detail, that's a big deal. Oh yeah, and his Rage Drive, though it got nerfed damage-wise, it's still one of the best in the game. A 14-frame Sonic Fang launcher that's plus on block. and that it's super long range, and it's basically homing. Not a small detail. Combos wise, he's amazing. Super high damage. Great, Oki, after, especially near the wall. Yeah, Steve is just solid. Solid character. He, again, is very hard to play. Down 4-2, kind of got wrecked. But, if you have the execution, it's still a counter launcher, but it's very hard to do. Very, very hard. You could argue it's the hardest staple in the game. And again, if you have the execution and the timing, Steve is one of the best characters. But he's been getting nerfed a little bit, and a lot of the characters are getting better, so I think that's hurting him a little bit. I don't think he's quite S tier anymore, but he is still incredibly strong. And always a great choice. So next up, we got King. This character to me is so underrated. I don't understand why people don't talk about this character enough. This character is fucking insane. I remember, I think it was me and Chill Scrub. We were talking about this character, and we were both like, dude, this character is fucking ridiculous. No one's talking about this character, but it's like, King honestly kind of has everything. Now, do I think he's quite S tier? No, I don't know if I'd say he's quite S tier. I don't know if he's on the level of the top 10, but again, do not underestimate a very good King player. Lil Majin, we all see what he can do, but let's go over the character. His throws, best in the game, no questions asked. His damage is insane. He's got great mids. His down for 1, elbow, down for 2-1. One of the best counter hits in the game, in my opinion, if you can counter confirm that. 4-4-1, one of the best mids in the game. That move's insane. Long range mid, counter hit launcher, homing, only -5 on block. Super good hitbox. That move's insane. Forward 4 is an insane mid. Full crush down for 2. Great whiff punisher. His shove is honestly broken. It's 0 on block. And if you hit that on counter next to a wall, you get a guaranteed wall bounce. 4-2-1 is insane. Yeah. And of course, he still has his hop knee, which I think is one of the best hop kicks in the game, in my opinion. Or, again, hop knee. Yeah, he's complete, and he has wall running 3 as well, which is a great addition. King's complete in the mids. Lows-wise, maybe a little lacking, but again, here's the problem. You don't even need the lows. His throws are so strong, and most people are not good at breaking throws, that you don't even need them. But he has the down 3, 4-4 neutral 2. He has a down back 4, down back 3, but those are can be risky depending on who you're fighting. But really with King, really all you need lows-wise is 4-4 neutral 2 and down 3. That's really it. Throws-wise, again, he is the best. No questions asked. His rage drive is super good. His Oki with that rage drive is insane. And on Forgotten Realm, he's the best character on Forgotten Realm. He's insane on that stage with the floor breaks. And yeah, block punishment-wise, he's super strong there as well. And his counter hits. He's a wrestler. You'd think he wouldn't have those, but he does. His back 1 is one of the best. His forward 1 is one of the best. 4-4 neutral 2 does that counter hit throw afterwards. Counter hits wise, and even has a magic 4. It's not that good, but he has one. Oh yeah, his forward 1+4. I always forget about that move. That move is kind of similar to a Mishima forward 4. It's not quite as good as that, but it's still very strong. But it kind of reminds me of that a little bit to an extent. Yeah, King is pretty darn complete. The only thing really that I think he's lacking a little bit is really the lows, but it's like he doesn't even really need them. But again, I don't think he's quite as strong as the top 10. But he is, again, a very good pick. Leroy. How many times have they nerfed this character? Over 100 times, and I'm not even joking. This character has been nerfed, probably the most nerfed character in Tekken 7. But even with all the nerfs, he is still one of the best characters. Because the thing with Leroy is you give him a toolkit with everything. He's one of those everything easy mode characters, really. He's so easy to play, no execution, and he has everything. Mids complete, lows, some of the best lows in the game with down 3-2, the down 2 series, has a homing hell sweep for some reason, down back 4. He's complete there. Mids wise, his orbital, he's got a demon paw for 1+2, down 1+2, back 1+2, though it got hit pretty hard, honestly, but it's still a 12 frame mid counter hit launcher. That's not a small detail. His down forward 1 is solid. Again, the character is, again, solid. He really has everything. Now, they have been nerfing the properties and frames, but he still has everything. And he's still so easy to play. Very accessible. The only thing really that you could find lacking on him is throw game, but it's like his lows are so good, he doesn't need that, so forget that. His damage has gotten hit pretty bad, but again, he's still, not the end of the world. But again, he has everything. But again, do I think he's as good as the top 10? No, I don't think so. But he's still very strong and very easy. Next up, we got Alisa. Alisa, to me, is, again, another character who kind of has everything. And also kind of similar to Leroy, but not quite, but obviously not as good as Leroy. But she has really everything. The only thing that I find lacking with Alisa is damage. Damage and wall travel, and even the wall combo. Combos-wise, she's lacking a little bit. But other than that, she has everything. She has great poking. Incredible movement. Her movement is some of the best in the game. She has a good full crouch mix-up, down for 1+2, kind of like a tire shoes type of a move, but it's way better than Lars' version. While saying 1+2, incredible homing safe knockdown mid. Back 1, amazing poke. Has a standing 4, really good. Down forward 4 is good. Down back 3 is a great low. Down 3 is really annoying if you can't block that. Let's see here. Has a hop kick, right? She has a while running mix-up, while running 2, while running 3-4. Her stance mix-ups are actually very underrated and solid. And her chainsaws are so freaking annoying. Holy shit, they are so annoying. Super good frames. Like, the frames on the chainsaws are really good, and they keep buffing it for some reason. Don't know why. It's a bunch of bullshit, really, in my opinion. This character makes me salty. I'm sorry, guys. I just hate Alisa so much. Another thing that you could say that was originally lacking with her was punishment. But they keep buffing her punishment for some reason. So it's not really even a weakness anymore. Punishment-wise, she's actually pretty solid there. Her punishment used to be kind of shit, but they just keep buffing it. Don't know why. Has that 14-frame launcher in 4.32. Though it got a damage nerf, it's still very powerful. Has a down forward 2. That's safe. Yeah, I mean, again, she really has everything outside of damage. Outside of damage, she's good. But again, it's like, I feel like the top 10 are just better. But Alisa, super dangerous. Super dangerous. And so easy. Next up, we got Bob. Bob, to me, is also super complete, really. I mean, originally, his only weakness would have been not having a launching 15-frame launcher and down forward 2, but now they give him up forward 4, which is a launcher. Though it screws right away and it's high, it's not the greatest launcher, but it's still a launcher, guys, and it's safe on block. Not a small detail. And again, he's kind of perfect. Has really everything now. Like, CD1 is insane. It went back to launching on regular hit. Not a small detail. Mids-wise, he's complete. Down forward 1, down forward 2, back 2 series. Back 4 is a safe launcher. 4-4-2, like a Demon Paul. Freaking down 1 still decent. Down 2-1. While standing 4. Has a wave dash too. And lows-wise, again, complete. Has a homing hell sweep. Down back 3, down 4, down back 3+4, 4, or 3. Has a launching throw, a wall splatting throw that people forget about. His power crush, I think, is one of the best in the game. It's insanely dumb. And, yeah, I mean, Bob is just... has everything, really. Yeah, that's really all I gotta say about Bob. Bryan also is really, really freaking strong. But the thing with Bryan is that he's, again, not as good as the top 10, and he's very, very hard to use. He's very demanding in execution and timing. Really, Bryan's a character that tests your patience. If you're very impatient against a Bryan, he's going to kill you instantly. His counter hits are some of the best in the game. 3+4, 4-3, back 1, 4-4-4. A lot of his strings are delayable in that counter hit launch. Hatchet kick will knock down a counter hit for Oki. Yeah, counter hit wise, he has a magic 4 as well. So yeah, counter hit wise and keep out wise, Bryan is one of the best characters, and he hits very hard, very good combo damage. His wall game is one of the best in the game with that taunt. The taunt's very hard to use, But if you have the execution, which is realistic, by the way, he is, like, again, he becomes kind of broken. Because you basically will get free wall spots that people... You won't be able to tech roll against Bryan because he has the taunt jet upper and taunt back 4 next to the wall. But again, that is very hard to do. But if you can do it, some people can. It's realistic. Bryan becomes absolutely ridiculous. Now, what is Bryan lacking? Pokes. Poking-wise, he's lacking a little bit. He does not have that 13 frame down for 1. He has a 13 frame down for 2. That's an elbow and has extensions, but the frames are just not there. And the hitbox isn't there either. Yeah, so poking-wise, he is a bit sluggish to get going. And he doesn't have a super, super crazy 50-50. But his hatchet low is super strong. It is very strong. They keep buffing it for some reason. And punishment-wise, I would originally say it was a weakness. But again, kind of similar to Alisa, they keep buffing it. For some reason, they keep buffing Bryan's punishment. So now his punishment is really no longer a weakness. It's actually very solid now. Not a small detail. So yeah, Bryan, again, if you have the execution, he is godlike. Godlike. But he can be a little sluggish to get going because of poking-wise and frames. Other than that, though, incredibly strong. Next up, we got Heihachi. And Heihachi, to me, is an underrated monster right now. Unfortunately, we're likely not going to get him in Tekken 8. So I'm going to try to enjoy Heihachi when I can before the game comes out. But man, Heihachi, underrated monster. You could argue, okay, actually no, Jin's the best Mishima, but out of him, Devil Jin, Kazuya, I think right now Heihachi is the best. Let's talk about it. Mids. Do I need to go over the mids? Sure, we'll go over the mids. 4-3, forward 4, 4-4-2, up 4-3-4, back 2, back 4, freaking 4-4-3, freaking, he has a death fist kind of a move. Freaking, like, what? His mids, yeah, I mean, I think those are really the main mids. Yeah, mids-wise, he has some of the absolute best in the game. No question about it, he has some of the best mids. He has the electric. Now a small detail. Big deal. Oh yeah, his down 4-1 is one of the best in the game. I forgot to mention that. Down 4-1, one of the best in the game. If his forward 4 hits a crouching opponent next to the wall, down 4-1-2 is fully guaranteed for massive damage. His 1-1-2 also is absolutely broken. The hitbox on his jab has been buffed, and he has the only flash punch that wall splats. So you could harass with 1-1 all day long, really. And again, it's so easy to hit confirm, that once you see a hit, finish the 2, get a wall splat. And it's only -1 on block. And with his mids, you're not going to be ducking the character, really at all. Now, the thing with Heihachi is that you would say weakness is, punishment-wise, you would say, okay, not as good as Kazuya and Devil Jin, but it's still good, right? Like, okay, 1-1-2, godlike, right? People forget about his forward 1+2 for 12 frames. That into Iron Hand, or into the Thunder God Fist, that's the Blue Spark Thunder God Fist. That's one of the highest damage 12 frame punishes in the game. The only problem with it really is that the range on it is pretty lacking. And also, he doesn't have an easy mode 15 frame launcher from standing. You basically have to electric, which people can do, but it's very hard to do. So keep that in mind. But for wall standing punishment, wall standing 4-4-4 is really good. And for 13 frames, his wall standing 1 is now 13 frames. They buffed it. So like Dragonov down 2, Heihachi could use wall standing 1 to punish that. That's insanely strong. Insanely strong. And again, launching wise, again, he has to wait till 18 frames with wall standing 3, 1+2. He does have to wait till then. So wall standing punishment, again, yeah, punishment, not the greatest, but still solid, not the worst in the world. Not as bad as other characters. And you would also say the lows. The lows weren't good. No, they're not. Down back 2, against 99.9999999% of players, that's unseeable. There's that 0.0001% of players that will be able to see that. But that is like so rare that you don't even have to worry about it. Chunk of damage, +6 on hit, right? Basically puts you in a full crouch mix-up. It is launch punishable though, so keep that in mind. Again, it's not the best slow, but it's something, right? You have the down 4 and down back 3, which aren't that great. And then he has the full crouch sweep, which gives a guaranteed follow-up, unseeable, but again, launch punishable, so risky, right? And then you would have his hell sweep, which again, launch punishable. But his hell sweep now got a very interesting buff. So, if you guys remember, the hell sweeps used to almost be homing. There was a patch where all the Mishimas had tracking hell sweeps, Kazuya and Devil Jin included. People were complaining about this, right? It was too strong. It made them more brain dead. So they removed it. But they removed it on Kazuya and Devil Jin. They did not remove it on Heihachi's. So Heihachi's hell sweep tracks to the left. That's a really fucking big deal. And not only that, not only does it, you can lead to a mix-up with the stand neutral 4 or the second low sweep for a combo. The first hell sweep on its own is plus 8 on hit. What does that mean? Well, that means if you do a 4-3 afterwards, for example, and you do a dick jab, you're up in the air. So you have to guess. All you can do is guess, and you can't step it. Again, and it's a counter hit launcher as well. Is that really a bad low? Absolutely not. The only drawback it has is that it's launch punishable. That's it. But again, with his godlike mids, and if you know how to place that move, it's never going to get blocked. And combo damage-wise, this character's ridiculous. His rage drive is also one of the best in the game. I forgot to mention forward 1, back 2, which is one of the best strengths in the game, into that rage drive. Heihachi's insane, dude. He is absolutely insane. But still takes up execution, though. He's definitely not as good as the characters at the very, very top. So he's definitely not S tier, but very underrated character. Next up, we got Hwoarang. Hwoarang, to me, again, just solid. Solid character. Has great pressure, great damage, complete throw game, solid whiff punishment. His backlash is broken. 4-4-4 is a great mid. Down 3-4 is a broken low, in my opinion. The only thing really holding Hwoarang back is, again, execution, and a lot of his key moves are locked behind stances. So you gotta know what you're doing a little bit, but if you know how to play him, he is really frustrating to fight. We've all fought Hwoarang, and how we all have gotten irritated by him, myself included. Hwoarang's just solid. Again, I don't know a shit ton on the character compared to other people, but we all know Hwoarang is solid. Solid character. And again, if you know the matchup, he struggles a little bit more, but he's still solid, man. He's got solid tools. But that's all I'm really going to say on Hwoarang. If you have a lot more info on Hwoarang, let me know. Katarina. Katarina, I also think, is kind of underrated. A lot of people would put her lower. If you want to put her lower, you could, because of her high-risk, high-reward game. And if you know how to punish her, she can struggle a little bit. But the thing that really helps her is her absurd freaking damage. And the fact that she is so easy and so consistent. And you don't even have to take a shitload of risks all the time. She has some solid fundamental tools and mix-ups, right? Her down 4-1 is very good with extensions and mix-ups. Has an excellent magic 4. Down 4-4, again, counter-wise, she's very good. Her standing 3-3-3 series is very solid. Her hop kick is one of the best in the game when it comes to range and consistency. Has a 13-frame launcher, theoretically. With punishment-wise, she's super strong. And block punishment. Again, damage is broken. The rage drive next to the wall is busted when it comes to damage. Down for 3+4 is a really stupid fucking low. Only minus 14 on block. Hits from literally the other side of the freaking earth. Plus 2 on hit, counter knockdown. Now, like I said, Katarina, she can take some risks. She can. But she has some solid fundamental tools. Movement-wise, she's solid. And again, she's so consistent. And so damaging and rewarding. The thing with consistency is that, again, I really take that in consideration with these characters, is that how consistent are they? That is a huge thing for me, at least. So, yeah, Katarina's solid. The only thing really holding her back is, again, she can take risks sometimes. Next up, we've got Law. Law is a character where, again, he's a character where if a robot was playing Law would be S tier. He probably would be one of the best characters in the game, for far none. Law is a character that has everything. He's got everything you need. Great punishment, amazing mids, incredible frames, incredible pressure and poking. Lows, he's complete. He's got a full crouch mix-up. His damage is solid. His wall travel is pretty good. Wall damage, while nerfed, still good. Yeah, again, Law doesn't really have... his Magic 4 is one of the best in the game. Law doesn't really have that many weaknesses, really. He has everything. The only thing that really holds him back is really, again, not necessarily a Law thing, kind of similar to Jin, but it's just the players. Not a lot of people play the character at this highest level. And the DSS, it can be very hard to master. But if you can master it, which again, some people can do, Law has some of the most insane frames and pressure in the entire game. But if we're being realistic here, that is extremely rare to find a player like that. Like, someone that can do counter at wall standing 4 into 3+4, that is so rare. Not many people can do it. Really, only a handful that can do that consistently. But if you can, his wall standing 4 is one of the best in the game. And his other tools. His keep out. And his homing. You can't really step Law with back 4, back 3. Homing-wise, you can't really step the character. So really, again, Law's got everything you need. But he's just kind of similar to Jin. He's kind of hard to use. And that can hold him back a little bit. He's not the most consistent character. In my opinion, I think the DSS, difficulty-wise, holds him back a little bit. But again, if you can master it, he is 100% S tier. He's got everything. But and again, I don't think he's quite as strong as and consistent as the top 10. But if you wanted to argue me putting him in S, you could. But realistically, I'm gonna put him in A tier. Negan, kind of similar to like a Katarina or even an Alisa. He's just solid. And Hwoarang, well, not Hwoarang, because Negan is so fucking easy. One of the easiest, most consistent characters in this game. And again, he's got pretty much everything you really need to get the job done. Super easy, super consistent. Also very underrated. I don't see many Negans, but Negan is underrated, man. He's got the mids, he's got the lows. He's got some good pressure. His combos are super good and consistent and easy. His back whoops too is one of the best pressure moves in the game, though it is steppable, so keep that in mind. Punishment-wise, he's great. His wall standing 1-2 wall standing punish is one of the best in the game. That is so good. And his intimidation stance is one of the best stances in the game, in my opinion. It's super complete. It's got everything. It's got a low, an unbreakable throw, a backlash, class 1 launcher, a quick mid poke, a 2 that's very plus on block. That stance really has everything you need in it. It's very strong, and again, super easy to understand. So, I mean, yeah, really Negan, pretty complete character in my opinion. Again, frames-wise, not the greatest character, and track, he can be pretty linear at times, but other than that, I think Negan is definitely A tier. And again, the fact that he's so consistent really, really, really helps him. As much as our next character here, Noctis. Noctis kind of similar to Negan, where he's, again, just solid. Super solid. And super consistent and easy. One of the easiest characters in the game, in my opinion. He's got... The only thing really that Noctis is lacking is poking-wise, he's not the best character. Though his down for 1 is actually pretty decent. He doesn't have a dick jab from standing. That's a pretty solid weakness. But really, other than that, he's got mostly everything else you need. Lows-wise, also maybe not the greatest, but full crouch down for 2 is a great low. Down 3 is solid. Down 2 is okay. Down 2 is solid. Down back 2 online is ridiculous. But most, again, the top players will see that, but online, that's unseeable. Down back 1+2 is good. While running 1+2 is nutty. Forward from 1+2, great homing, safe homing mid counter at launcher. His down forward 4 series is solid. Great damage. His 2-2 is fucking insane. He's got a million mix-ups after that. Damage-wise, he's amazing. Oki-wise, he's amazing. Punishment-wise, he's very strong as well. His down forward 2, one of the best block punish and whiff punishes in the game. The only thing that doesn't make it as good is that it is hella unsafe on block. But again, the range on it is just so good. So really, Noctis has everything really outside of the poking department and the fact that panic moves are very, very risky. But other than that, Noctis is very solid and super consistent. All right, the last character I got an A tier. I've got Paul. Now, Paul is a character that has absurd damage, great block punishment, incredible Oki and mix-ups, some of the best homing moves in the game. Of course, circle back 4, up 4-2, back 1, back 1-2. Has a complete throw game. His down 4-2 is broken. It is the best down 4-2 in the game, far to none. It is the best. I think has a magic 4. Yeah, I mean, Paul's got most of the kit. The only thing that Paul really lacks is, again, kind of similar to Noctis, the poking. Poking-wise, again, he's not really a poking character. That's not what he's known for. He's known for hitting these bigger moves. That's really what Paul is known for. And the fact that Paul is... some people might disagree with me on this, but I think he's a little too honest. At least compared to, like, the S-tier characters. I think he's just a little too honest compared to them. Paul is still very solid, though. Paul is not the worst character in A tier. Definitely not even close. He probably would be at the top of A tier. Again, I'm just kind of like putting characters wherever. And again, this tier list is super close. There is no character in this game that is bad or unusable. Every character in this game is good to a certain extent. Even the worst character, which I'll even get into. But Paul's just solid. Great tools. But a little too honest, in my opinion, for a game like this. And the fact that his poking is lacking. But other than that, Paul is very solid and a solid choice. Next up, oh boy, the B tier. Why are there so many? There's so many characters in this game, guys. This shit's crazy. I hope Tekken 8 they really lower the roster, which I mean they kind of did, but we'll see. But there's just so many characters. All right, first up we got Asuka. Asuka's a character where a lot of people want to put her lower, and I can understand why. But this character is so freaking obnoxious as hell to fight. Her keep-out tools and defensive tools are literally some of the best in the game. With back 3, can, parry, has a freaking 3+4, which is decent. Sidestep 4 is a great keep-out move. Keep-out-wise and defensive-wise, Asuka is super strong. You cannot press buttons against Asuka, or she will counter kill. She's going to kill you. If you play Asuka's game, she destroys you immediately. Right? Again, great counter hits, great keep out. With that being said, with Asuka, the big problem with her is that if you're not being aggressive and you're turtling her and staying away, that's where I feel like Asuka is very lacking. Her punishment is not the great. I mean, it's actually decent. But poking wise, she's weak. Her frames are not that great, and her jab is the worst in the game. Not a good hitbox. The extensions are, none of them are not that amazing. They're okay, but they're not super threatening. And her jab is not plus on block like the traditional jab. That's a huge, huge deal. So offensive-wise, that is where I find this character that she can really struggle. And again, she's a character where if you want to put her in C tier, I'm totally okay with that. I have really no problem with that. But still, Asuka is so annoying to fight. And if you play her game, she murders you. And also, you have to keep in mind that she is so fucking easy. So fucking easy. Like, you could pick her up in an hour and play with her and do well. So that really helps her as well. She's very consistent. Next up, we got Devil Jin. Now, Devil Jin's a character where some people might be like... Some people have actually put Devil Jin lower, and some people higher. I'm going to put him in the middle. The thing with Devil Jin is, again, he has the tools to get the job done. He's got good punishment. He's got great lows, down back 2. His health sweep is very strong. His electric is broken. Damage-wise, he's, like, at least in the open, he's solid there. Has a complete throw game. Really, Devil Jin has the tools, but the big thing with Devil Jin, at least now, because, again, he's been getting nerfed a lot. A lot of the characters have been getting better. Power creep kind of hurts him a little bit. He's still very hard to play, high in execution. And the big thing with Devil Jin is that he just doesn't really have a super power mid. His up forward 4 got wrecked. So it's like, the power mid now is probably like 4-4-2. While saying 2, which is a launcher, but it's minus 12. It's unsafe. It's a big deal. So power mids wise, little lacking there. Also, his wall combo after back 2-1 got nerfed. It's actually one of the worst wall combos in the game when it comes to damage. The 1-1, down 1, or laser cannon, or 1-2, back 4, it's just not as good as other wall combos in the game. It's a very legacy kind of a wall combo. So with back to 1 being kind of removed, yeah, wall combo wise, he's actually not very good when it comes to damage. But in the open, yeah, Devil Jin hits hard. But again, Devil Jin's still solid. He still has the tools. He's got the laser cannon. Still a very, very solid character. 100%. If you had the execution, Devil Jin's good. But I feel like now, there's just better choices. I feel like he's been power crept a little too much. And the lack of a really solid power mid, that hurts him. And his wall combo is not very good. So I feel like that's really what hurts Devil Jin. And he's still very hard to use. And I feel like you could do that with another character. So that's my thoughts on Devil Jin. Eliza. This character I don't know really much about, honestly. So I don't know even where the hell to put her. Some people put her like really low. Some people put her really high. This is a character to me where the gimmicks are super, like, she's the gimmicky 2D character. So she's that character where, again, if you don't know the matchup, this character absolutely murders you. But even if you knew the matchup, yeah, poking-wise and frames-wise, she is not a good character at all. But again, that's not what she's really designed for. She's designed off meter and her nasty fucking gimmicks. Her wall pressure is really good. Her dive kicks are really annoying, even though they have been nerfed. It's still annoying. And the character really overall is just annoying. I'm so glad she ain't in Tekken 8, or really any of the 2Ds, honestly. And she still has that broken 2D jump that people forget about. People forget about that 2D jump. Guys, I'm sorry that keeps like moving, like the tier list moves like that. I'm sorry. But she's just one of those characters where, again, if you don't know the matchup, she kills you. And I feel like that really does help her because rarely anyone uses her. So I think she's a B tier. But if you know the matchup, she's harder to use. But I think she's underrated. A lot of people don't talk about her, but she's better than most people think she is. Next up, Ganryu. Ganryu also a pretty solid character, honestly. Has great pressure, good frames. When Ganryu's up close to you and pressuring you with his mix-ups and frames, that is where he shines. He's super good there. Has some solid gimmicks. No one plays him, which also really helps him. Execution-wise, some of the combos do, but it's not that bad. Again, good combo damage, good wall travel, wall combo's good. Again, the frames and poking is great. It's there. Punishment-wise, not the greatest, but still better than nothing. His down forward 2 is one of the best in the game. It's unsafe, but it has extensions to make it safe, but it's high. So it's essentially a mix-up on block on how to punish it, which is very good. His down forward 3 is one of the best low pokes in the game. That low is super dumb. Down 1+2 is a very solid mid. His down forward 1 series is good. Forward 1+2 is a great whiff punish. Back 2-1's a good string. Down 1, while slow, it's a good pressure move. And his stance mix-ups are good. The 3 option from that stance, that low, is super dumb, super good frames. Only -12 and +9 on hit. And has some disgusting mid mix-ups. And the fact that no one really knows the matchup really, really helps you. And his backswing blow, I think, is one of the best in the game. A lot of people don't talk about that move, but it's a 50-50. If it hits, you either do 2-1-2 or down 4-2. It's a mix-up. And if you don't know how to deal with that, he backswing blows you and basically kills you. And he has these stupid unblockables as well that can really fuck you up. So, yeah, Ganryu can be very annoying. But the big problem with Ganryu is range. If you could stay away from him and you can keep him away from you, that is where Ganryu really has a hard time. Really has a hard time really opening you up. But outside of that, he's a solid character, but definitely nowhere near the best. Jack. It's kind of ironic that Jack and Kazumi are right next to each other because they're very similar. Well, at least in how they play. Actually, I'll talk about both of them. So the thing with Jack and Kazumi is that they have great pressure, good frames, good poking. They're very similar where they're very fundamental characters. The big problem really with both of them is that they're both just too honest in a very dishonest Tekken game. They both have gotten their nerves, especially Kazumi. Like, Kazumi especially. Kazumi has gotten hit super freaking hard. Like, arcade version Kazumi, she was broken. Season 1, she was one of the best characters, and now she's kind of just like mid-tier. And the thing with both of them is that if you have the fundamentals, they are both great choices, and they're both solid characters. But I feel like I feel like you could just use other characters. I feel like there's just characters that are better than both of them. Jack, though, again, has a complete throw game. People forget about that. A beast at the wall. His down 4-2 is insane. His wall combo is good, but his standing combos are not good. Very little damage. But again, Jack is solid. He's got the tools. He is solid. But another big problem with Jack is panic moves wise, very risky or very lacking. And he can't, his backdash is good, but he can't step. That's that's a big deal. If you can't step in a 3D game, he has to play the 2D game. But his backdash is good. Kazumi has the movement, but doesn't really have a throw game. And Kazumi is just so bland really right now. I mean, again, it's just 1-1, down forward 1, down back 4, back 2, magic 4, and all those moves have been nerfed. So again, Kazumi, if you got the fundamentals, you know, she's a good choice, but again, dude, you could do that with another character. Jack, kind of the same thing. They're kind of similar in that way. They're both very honest, and they've both been power crept quite a bit. So I decided we'll just talk about both of them, because they both have similar strengths and flaws. Kazuya is a character where, if you have the execution, you could put him in A tier. But I'm going to be realistic here. So let's talk about Kazuya. Excellent block punishment. One of the best characters in the game when it comes to that. His defensive play is super good. His electric is super freaking busted and annoying. His vortex, his Oki is arguably the best in the game. Maybe, I think Marduk's is better, but his Oki is one of the best in the game. No doubt. Combo damage, he hits like a truck. He hits very hard, especially if you have the execution. But the big problem really with Kazuya is that poking-wise and offensive-wise, very lacking. Doesn't have the frames of the pokes to really poke. He doesn't really have any good panic moves. That hurts him. He's very vulnerable to sidestep left. He has some moves to shut that down, but he sometimes has to take risks. Down 4-2 is unsafe. Back 4 is high. While Staying 2 is launch punishable. While Staying 3 is too slow. You're not going to hit anyone with that. And Fujin Raken was originally a good move, but that move got wrecked. It does the new tactic thing, which is almost useless. So that move isn't really that viable anymore. And even if it's blocked, it's -9. So you basically completely lose your turn. So, yeah, the thing with Kazuya is, again, if you have the execution, the mind games, and the reads, yeah, he's solid, but it's just like, again, there's just better characters. And he's just too hard. Too hard, very inconsistent. He, again, very vulnerable to sidestep left, very weak poking and frames. Defensively wise, again, he's a great character, but there's just better choices. But again, Kazuya is not a bad character. I want to make that very, very clear. He is very solid. He's a good character, but again, there's just better characters out there. Lee also, again, solid. Some of the best counters in the game and keep that with back 4, magic 4, his 1+2 mid-safe counter launching homing move. Down 3 is an incredible low counter launcher, though it is launch punishable, so keep that in mind. Has a slide. 2-2-3 is a great 10-hit string. His down 4-1 is super good. His wall travel and combos in general are super good. And he just has solid tools in general. But again, kind of similar to Asuka, the big problem with Lee is that if you're pressing buttons on Lee, if you're playing Lee's game, Lee is extremely strong. Also, his 1-3-3 is one of the best 10-frame punches in the game, but it's very hard to do. But if you can do it, it's one of the best. But yeah, if the thing with Lee is really just, if you are rushing Lee, then yeah, you're going to get blown up. But if you're turtling Lee, and you know when the stuff is coming, how is Lee really going to open you up? The slidey? That takes a risk. He doesn't really have a throw game. Can't really use that. And lows-wise, he has lows, but they're not the most threatening. And again, they're good lows, but they're not the most threatening in the world for you to really duck compared to his mids. And the fact that, again, he's super hard to play, super demanding in execution. But if you can do it, if you have the mind games execution, Lee's a solid choice. So keep that in mind. Lee, I think, is underrated. There's some great Lees out there that can make him work. But, yeah, I mean, the fact that, he doesn't really have a super strong 50-50, to open you up defensively. That really holds him back from being as good as he can be. Lili. Lili also is a very solid character. Very underrated in my opinion. I think she's pretty mid. Has some good tools. Down 4-3, great mid. 4-4, amazing counter tool. Has a magic 4, but it's not that great. 4-3 is a good homing move. Close circle 4-3 plus 4, amazing move. Down 3, good low. 4-4-4, good low. Matterhorn, one of the best panic moves in the game, though it is very unsafe, so keep that in mind. Her movement is super good. Again, it's one of the best in the game. Down 1-2 is a great low as well. Natural combo. Has some decent back turn mix-ups. And solid combo damage. Big thing with Lili is, again, I feel like she's a little too honest in my opinion. And she is also relatively vulnerable to sidestep left. And her down forward 1 is, not the greatest down forward 1. But Lili, again, if you're a very solid Lili, she's solid. But, again, not one of the greatest characters. But not bad at all. Not bad at all. Don't underestimate her. Next up, Xiaoyu. Xiaoyu is one of those characters, really, where if you don't know this matchup, she's S tier. She was actually very strong in Season 1. Very strong. She's still solid now, especially when they gave her that busted-ass down back too low, which is basically a mix-up on block of how to punish it. Really annoying, and it basically gives a mix-up on hit. She crushes like crazy. She has decent poking and solid mix-ups. And even, again, frames-wise, she's actually solid. The big thing with Xiaoyu is, again, if you do know the matchup, that's where she's a little bit harder to use, but she's still super hella annoying because most people don't know this matchup, and that really helps her. And another thing that, again, Oki-wise, she's super good, but combo damage-wise, at least in the open, is kind of lacking. Punishment-wise, she's okay, but not the greatest in the world. And poking-wise, though solid, it has been nerfed, at least after Season 1. Her down for 1 in Season 1 was busted, but they did make it more fair now, thank God. Yeah, really, if you don't know the matchup, she kills you, but if you know the matchup, she's probably like a B tier. But if you want to put her higher or lower, I'm fine with that. I'll just put her in the middle. Raven, kind of similar thing with Xiaoyu, is that if you don't know the matchup, she kills you. If you know the matchup, she's more fair. But again, she's solid. Her damage is ridiculous. She has some gimmicks, has some poking, but a little too unsafe in my opinion. A little too unsafe, has to take risks. And if you know the matchup, harder to use. But again, I don't know a ton about Raven, but again, she's solid. A lot of people put her in A tier, but no one really tells me why. What does she have? Her down for 1 is decent. Down back 2 is a good poke. Wall standing 2, that move is really good. She does. Oh yeah, she has the wall standing 14 frame launcher and wall standing 1. That's a pretty big deal. So yeah, and her wall combo is a meme. It is probably one of the best in the game. But she's just one of those characters, really. If you don't know the matchup, she kills you. But if you know the matchup, kind of like Xiaoyu, it's harder to play. But still solid. And then finally, we got Miguel. Miguel is a character that a little underrated in my opinion. I think he is solid. He's got pretty good pokes. Punishment-wise, block punishment, he's solid. Has a decent mix-up in Savage. His Savage Hands overall is actually very strong. His hop kick is good. He has very complete lows in my opinion. Down back 3, down back 4, Savage down back 3, down back 1, down 4, down 3. Has a full crouch treat, but it's very risky. I wouldn't even recommend it. He is very solid, but the big problem with Miguel is that range on his jabs has always been a problem with him. And the fact that I feel like, again, he's just too honest. A little too honest, in my opinion, in a very dishonest game. If you have the fundamentals, Miguel's a good choice, but as I've constantly been saying, I feel like there's just better characters. And also tracking-wise, he's not that great. Forward 4 is a good move, though. But yeah, range on jabs, big problem, and just a little too honest in my opinion. But he's not a bad character at all. He's very good. But there's just better characters. I feel like that's a lot of characters in this lower tier, honestly. I'm going to be saying that a lot. But it's the truth.
I love Miguel, though. He's my man, but he's probably like a mid-tier. Is this still going? Good. All right, next up, we've got Ana. Ana really is the real high-risk, high-reward character of the game. This is a character where if you're constantly guessing wrong and you don't know this matchup, she kills you, blows you up, eats you up. But once you understand the matchup, and if you are starting to guess right on her mix-ups, she is very unsafe, not very good, very poor frames, and I feel like that really holds her back and very punishable. But she has some fundamental tools. Her down for one series is solid. Her Corsical forward one, that fucking elbow is so annoying. I hate that move. 4-4-2 is a great homing move. Back four is a good home move. Has a very good magic four. And again, her mix-ups are super strong. But they're very risky, but they're very high reward. She hits like a truck when she lands. So she's very easy to play as well. Very easy to play. But the big thing with Ana is that she takes a lot of risks. If you know how to punish her and you know how to sidestep left, she can struggle. But again, she's the coin flip character really of the game. You know, Astrov's a coin flip character in Soul Calibur. That's basically Ana. So if you're constantly guessing wrong, she eats you up. But she's very inconsistent. But she's still annoying as fuck. I hate Ana. I hate fighting her. Next up, we got Armor King. Armor King, the thing with Armor King is that, you know, block punishment-wise, he's good. His whiff punishment is very good. He's got great whiff punishment. His Dark Upper, CD1 is incredible. He has a very good throw game, but it's not as good as King's. And the thing with Armor King is that he's basically just, he's solid, but he's just not as good as King. Nowhere near as good as King. He got nerfed coming into Tekken 7. Everyone has gotten better. That hurts him. And his mids are just, they're just not that threatening or scary. I mean, outside of really of Hop Kick, but other than that, it's like all of his other mids are kind of lacking. You know, has some poking, has some tools, but frames-wise, he's not, you know, not that great. But lows-wise, he's actually very good there. He has down 3, 4-4 neutral 2, which is broken in my opinion. Down 4 is super good. Down back 3 is there online. And his throw game's good. But again, really the mids are a big thing. And his counter hits are nowhere near as good as King's. And he doesn't have all the, like, unblockable crazy gimmicks that King has. So, thing with Armor King is just, again, he's solid, but it's like, why would you play Armor King when you could play King right now? You know what I'm saying? That's basically my big question for Armor King. That's why he's here. It's like, he's not bad, but it's just, why would you play him when you could play King? It's like, if you love Armor King, which a lot of people do, he's a badass. I love Armor King myself, but it's just like, King is just a better option. In my opinion. Much better when it comes to the mids. And his throws are better. His counter-hits are better. A lot of the stuff is just better with King. But Armor King still, I mean, it's still Armor King. We still love him. But tier-wise, you know, he's on the lower tier. Eddy. Eddy's a character that some people think Eddy's the worst character in the game. I don't know what kind of drugs you're on if you think Eddy's one of the worst characters. Eddy is nowhere near one of the worst characters. I think he's very underrated. You know, mix-ups wise, he does take risks, and poking is not the best. But he's got some tools, man. He's got some solid mids. He doesn't have a sidestep. That's a big problem. His sidestep is the worst in the game. Sorry. But his backdash is excellent. One of the best backdashes. Has great keep out. Sidestep 3+4. Down forward 2. Up forward 4 is a good mid. Lows wise, sidestep 4, down forward 4, down 4. You know, solid. Full crouch down forward 4. Has the mix-ups. But again, he does take risks there. But he can play it safe. He has some poking from those stances. And he's really one of those characters where really, if you don't know the matchup, you know, he blows you up. He blows you up alive. But if you know the matchup, yes, it is much, much harder to play Eddy. But I don't think he's as bad as people say he is. He also does have a safe launcher in forward, forward, 4. And it also hits grounded too. Not a small detail. And he definitely has the tools. He also has back 2-3, which is a good mid poking string. But yeah, punishment-wise, and also let's not forget that he has a 13-frame wall-standing launcher, wall-standing 1-3, but it is high, so if you do block low that's minus 13 or 14 and recovers crouching, sure, you can't use that, but that's still very powerful to have. So, yeah, Eddy, Still one of the worst characters, but he's nowhere near the worst character. We all know who the worst character is, in my opinion. Next up, we got Josie. Josie, she's one of those characters where it's kind of similar to Asuka and even a character like Lee, where if you play her game, she's going to eat you up. She has solid counter tools, good stance-based mix-ups, or no, not stance, but also string-based mix-ups. That's what I was trying to say. I'm sorry. Has very good block punishment, actually. Her block punishment is very strong, actually. Standing and while standing. She has a 13-frame while standing launcher herself. That's actually not a small detail. Her down 4-2 is very good. Has some good keep out. Has a magic 4. Down 4-4 is a solid mid. 4-4-4, great homing mid, safe counter launcher. Has some mix-ups, right? Has good damage, especially really when, in the open, her her combos are not that great. But once you get to the wall, that's where she comes much more, dangerous. However, with all that being said, all you have to do versus Josie is you just don't press. If you don't press, you don't get counter hit and don't get punished too often, again, how is a Josie really, really going to open you up? Now, you might think her CD3 and CD2 mix-up, which, yeah, against, again, 99.999% of players, that's going to be a 50-50. But against the top players, that is actually fuzzy guardable. I didn't know that till recently. So if you could fuzzy guard that mix-up's like non-existent. And other than that, you have down 4, which is a safe low, -10 actually, so some characters can punish it, excuse me. But other than that, the lows outside of CD3 just aren't super threatening. And really, if you don't push buttons, I just don't know what Josie can really do to open you up. If you know the matchup and you know how to punish her and you don't press, she really struggles. She really struggles. Next up, Lei. Lei, I think, is underrated. This is a character really where I really wanted to put him in B tier. If you want to put Lei higher, I'm totally okay with that. Like, I would be, yeah, sure, go ahead. I'm perfectly okay with that. Another character where if you don't know the matchup, he completely murders you. His stance mix-ups are super fucking annoying. His hiatus step is super obnoxious and stupid and annoying. His 4-4-3 is one of the best whiff punishes in the game, in my opinion. It's actually one of the best launchers, in my opinion. Combo-wise, he's solid. Good wall combo. Good Oki. Punishment-wise, he's actually better than people think. He's got a safe down 4-2 and a hop kick. Has a safe launcher and sidestep 4, I think is what it is. His hell sweep, I think, is one of the best in the game. And again, his mix-ups and stances are just very solid overall. And Razor Rush. You can't forget about Razor Rush when you're talking about Lei. The big thing really lacking with Lei is, again, just standard poking and frames. Not really there, but that's not what Lei is designed for, though. Like, if Lei had good poking and pressure, he would be S tier. He'd be busted. So it kind of makes sense for him to have not so great frames. But other than that, like, honestly, he's actually pretty good, in my opinion. And a lot of people don't know the matchup. That really helps Lei as well. Most people don't know how to fight this character. So that's a big thing. So Lei, I think he's at the top of C. Really, I think he's actually one of the best characters in C. But if you want to put him at the end of B tier, I would totally be okay with that. Like, Lei, I think it's very underrated. I think he is the best character in C tier. Next up, Nina. Nina's one of those characters where she has some annoying strings and, pressure stuff and stuff like that. But really, it's like, if you know this matchup, there's not that much Nina can do. She has good poking and pressure and frames. Her combos and her wall trap is really good, but she takes a lot of execution to play at the max level. Range-wise, she's not good. Punishment-wise, good, not great. And really, outside of her hiatus step, or however the fuck you say it, if you have the execution for that stuff, yeah, I mean, it's solid and it can be annoying, but it's just like, again, I feel like there's just better and more consistent options than Nina. Really, the only reason I could see people playing her is that they just love Nina. Outside of that, you don't really see her very often at the highest level because, again, she's very hard to play and just has relatively weak tools, in my opinion. But again, again, she's 100% usable. She's not bad. 100% usable character. She's good, but a little too hard, and if you know the matchup, she's just much harder to use, and just a little too hard in my opinion. And there's just easier, more consistent characters, even in the B tier, in my opinion. Dragonov, I really hate putting Dragonov here. I really do want to put him higher, but he's just not good. He's not good right now at all. Okay, what are his strengths, right? Great rush down. Has good frames on certain moves, like wall rank 2, back 1+2, 4-4-3, down 2. Again, down 2 is, I think, one of the best low pokes in the game. It is very, very good. He has a complete throw game, very strong. Combo-wise and wall travel is very good. However, his wall combo is one of the worst in the game when it comes to damage. Damage-wise, very low when he gets to the wall. His mids have, for some reason, this high-ass hitbox, where against characters like Zafina, characters like Xiaoyu, like those have Eddy, those evasive characters, most of Dragonov's mids just go right under them. He crushes, like they crush almost all of Dragonov's mids, including the while running 2. I saw a clip of Heihachi's Demon Uppercut crushing while running 2. I'm not kidding. It's somewhere on Twitter. It's ridiculous. Mids-wise, not great. Tracking-wise also, not good. Down 2 is essentially homing, and he has back 3, but the problem is that it's low and high. So if you're step ducking, for example, there's not much Dragonov can do, because you're going to block down 2. Back 3 will whiff. Down 4 3+4 is mid, but it's too slow. Yeah, that's not a good move. Way too slow. It's not effective really at all. Counter hits wise are like non-existent outside of raw running 2. His poking is kind of clunky and lacking. Just not great. And he's just too honest. Just too honest. There's like Dragonov used to be one of the best characters when Tekken 7 came out, but now it's just he's been getting nerfed. Everyone's been getting better, and everyone knows him now. Everyone knows how to fight Dragonov. So it's just like, I still love him. He's still going to be one of my favorite characters. I'm still going to play the hell out of him in Tekken 8. I'm excited for him for Tekken 8. He looks amazing. But Tekken 7 Dragonov, he's not good. He's not a bad character, but he's definitely not good. Next up, we got Shaheen. Shaheen, kind of similar to Dragonov. And he's just boring and just too honest. Like, he's solid, I guess. He's got some tools, some poke. He's down for 1, down for 2, down for 3, back 3. He's got tools, you know. He does have a full crouch mix-up with the slide. That's solid. But it's just, what else does Shaheen really have? We all know Shaheen. It's like, he's just a fundamental poking character. If you want to put Shaheen in B tier, I'm fine with it. But it's just like, he's just too honest, man. It's just like, there really is no real reason to play Shaheen. Really outside of just, you like him. But it's like, who really mains Shaheen? Maybe outside of AK. Other than that, there's really no other Shaheen. There's just better, more consistent characters. That's all I really got to say about Shaheen. He's just boring. And then finally, Yoshi. Yoshi's one of those characters where he doesn't have the frames and the poking, kind of similar to Lei, but it's just like, he doesn't need it. He's freaking obnoxious. If you don't know this matchup, Yoshi eats you alive. His gimmicks are insane. He has incredible tech catches. His unblockables are some of the best in the game. His flash is broken. Damage-wise, he's actually solid. He's got a good wall combo now. Yeah. And he's just he's just one of those fun, goofy, silly characters where if you don't know the matchup, he kills you, but the trade-off is that his poking and frames are relatively poor. And he can take risks, right? So, really with Yoshi, it's like, if you know the matchup, obviously he's going to be less effective. But then, again, if you're very creative, Yoshi is honestly super fun to watch, man. But yeah, Yoshi, I mean, we all love Yoshi. I mean, who doesn't? I mean, I hate fighting Yoshi, but watching him, I mean, who doesn't? Who doesn't like watching a very solid Yoshi player? Or a silly Yoshi player, iMusician, for example. But again, he doesn't have the poking or frames. And the rest of the character is relatively flawed, so. But still, I don't think he's D tier. But now we're at the D tier. Only 6 characters. Let's see if we can finish this up. Chloe. Chloe's garbage, dude. Like, the thing with Chloe is, like, she's essentially like an easy Xiaoyu, where if you don't know the matchup, she's going to eat you alive. She hits like a truck. I'll say that. Her damage is ridiculous. She has some mix-ups, but she's so punishable. And she just doesn't really have the poking or frames to really be a threat. If you know the matchup, then she's just pretty crap in my opinion. Though we have people like Kaiser who can make her work. But again, he's still a very, very, very good player. Again, he's a really fucking talented player. But again, the average Chloe is going to get their ass kicked by me. Simple as that. The character just, if you know the matchup, she just doesn't have much to really work with. Yeah. And it's just super punishable. Very risky and just not good frames. Lydia. The thing with Lydia is, it's kind of tragic with her because she was actually a pretty cool character when she dropped. I think she was probably like A tier. She was solid. But the big thing with Lydia right now is just that she just got absolutely killed. They nerfed essentially the entire character. It's just like, what does she really have right now? Literally almost everything on this character was nerfed. It's just like, there really is no reason really to play her anymore. She got so many nerfs, like Political Storm is almost useless now. Her guard break is nowhere near as good. 4-2-4 no longer knocks down. 4-3 no longer knocks down. Her mix-ups in general have worse frames. 4-4-2 is still a good move, but it's like, whatever, you can block it. Down back, sidestep 4, no longer a launcher, not even on counter hit. Counter game is non-existent, really. Relatively linear. Poking, not that great. It's like, there's really no reason to play Lydia right now. She got killed. She was solid, but then they just killed the entire character. And do I think it was necessary? No. I thought she was kind of cool, but now it's just, there's just better characters now. There's no reason really at all to play her. Next up, Lars. So Lars, Lars has always been low tier. I mean, you could maybe put him in C tier if you wanted to, but I don't think Lars is very good at all, really. I mean, combos wise, I will say he is one of the best characters. His wall combos and wall travel is very strong. I will give him that. And his block punishment is actually pretty damn good. It's pretty damn underrated. He actually has a 14 frame launcher from standing. People forget about this. He has that. That's solid. But the big problems with Lars is poking, not really there. Counter hits, not really there. He's very vulnerable to sidestep right. Lows, not there. Very, very risky when it comes to the lows. Full crouch down for 1+2 is your best low. But it's still very slow because you have to do full crouch down for 1+2. Big problem. Back one's a good move. 4-4-1+2 is a good mid. Orbital's good. Up 4-3 got a massive nerf with crushing. And again, he's just very risky. And it's just, the characters up top are just way, way stronger than him. Lows are just too risky. Very vulnerable sidestep right. And he just lacks any decent poking. His down for 1 is okay, but that's kind of whatever. So yeah, Lars, I don't know, man. He's just not good. He's got some good stuff going for him, but there's just better characters, man. Kuma. Kuma, to me, really is just a complete mess. This is the character where if you don't know the matchup, like the other ones, the bears are going to eat you up. I mean, they're the comic relief characters of Tekken, right? They're very silly, very goofy. Him and Panda. I don't have Panda on the list because they're the exact same character. No reason to have them on. Again, if you're ranked, you can make the character work, but it's just like, once you know this matchup, what does Kuma really have? He has terrible frames. Just poking is non-existent. Sidestep is trash. He eats more damage because of his hitbox. Though it can work against him, especially with wall combos where he'll go, for some reason, if you combo Kuma at the wall, Sometimes Akuma will be on the other side away from the wall, and then he'll do that back turn 1+2 shit. That shit's so annoying. I do hate that. Again, I hate this fucking character. I hate fighting him, but he's not a good character. He's not good. He has some tools, like his jab is good, 2-1 is good, down back 2 is a good low, his hop kick is pretty good. But other than that, pokes-wise and frames, he just doesn't have it. But again, he's the obnoxious comic relief character with the gimmicks. He's a living gimmick, essentially. If you know the matchup, you know, not good. But he's fun to mess around with, I guess. 2 more characters left. Fahkumram. Fahkumram is absolutely fucking useless right now. Why in the hell would you ever play him? Right now, at least. The character got absolutely gutted. This character, when he dropped, was broken. He was arguably the best. I think he was the best character in the game. But they just... Again, they nerfed the whole character. The only thing really the character has now that shines is his down forward 1 mix-up, his guard break near the wall. Hwoarang 3 is still good, along with his back forward 4. And block punishment-wise, he's still good, but he got hit pretty hard in that as well. His frames got much worse. He's much more punishable. He has no counter hits. Now, his counter game is completely gone. 3+4 being -11 is ridiculous, is a joke. His Magic 4 is completely gone, with characters having super good Magic 4s in this game. That hurts. His Standing 3 got hit pretty bad, but it's still good. And just bad frames. Also, his backdash is good, but he can't step. His step is bottom 5. It's garbage. He can't step for a damn. That's a big problem. And his panic moves are super risky. His punch parry, super launch punishable. His power crush is too slow. Can't step. Yeah, again, really with all the nerfs and the fact that everyone else is just so much better right now, again, there really is no reason to play this character. No reason, really. Like, he's garbage. Just way too punishable, no counter hit game, pokes are not great. Yeah, not a good character at all. Definitely one of the worst characters in the game. And finally, final character, my man, Gigas. Gigas, look, listen, man, I love you, but you're the worst character in the game. So, what does Gigas have, right? His jab and 1-2, arguably the best in the game. His jab is super good. His 1-2 is incredibly strong. Best 10 frame in the game outside of Akuma's meter bullshit. His down for 1's very good. Very good range. 4-4-2, a good Demon Paul style move. Has a unique power crush in down 3+4, where if you use it correctly, you know, it's actually decent. His down 2 is pretty good. Good range, though it's -14. He has the overkill 1+2 throw, which is very damaging. And that's really about it, honestly. I mean, he's got that really gimmicky charge up, which, you know, if you've learned setups for it, you know, you can be creative with that. But, you know, against really good players, it's just not that threatening. And the thing with Gigas overall is just like, other than those tools I mentioned, he really doesn't have anything else. His frames, again, are really bad. He literally has no movement. You can't even backdash with this character. We all know he can't step for a damn, but even backdash, it is arguably, I think, the worst in the game. His backdash is absolutely garbage. Damage-wise, though, he hits like a truck when he lands, but that's really going to happen when you know, if people know what they're doing. His 1+2 overkill throw at the highest level is going to get broken every time because there's no mix-up to that throw. You have to mix up with default throws, which are not good. His lows are not good. Down back 2 is his best low. And at the highest level, that's reactable. And not very good frames. -14 on block. Some characters launch that. Not good. Very linear. Doesn't have good homing moves at all. And he's just so sluggish and slow. And he just doesn't really have the gimmicks. You know, characters that have these bad frames, you would think have gimmicks like Kuma or Lei or any of these other characters, or even Eddy to an extent. But Gigas doesn't even really have the gimmicks. I mean, if you know this matchup, you die. He has almost, like, you get killed. You have almost nothing to work with. Outside of a couple, like a handful of tools. He has like nothing to work with. And you can't move. He has like no panic moves. His dick jab is like the only thing you have. Down 1 plus 2, too slow. You're never going to hit that on a good player. It's like, yeah, I mean, again, like I said, Geese is, again, he's usable, but it's like, really, if you want to play seriously, why would you pick him? You know what I'm saying? But I mean, he's got a big red ass. I mean, I think that helps him a little bit, but yeah, that's basically about it for Gigas. He doesn't have much to work with, and I think he is generally the worst character in the game, but he's still usable. So, yeah, guys, that was my entire tier list. I hope you guys enjoyed it. This is my grand final tier list for Tekken 7. Tekken 8 is coming out soon. I will be coming back for that game, and I probably will be streaming it. I don't know when, but I am going to give the game a shot. We'll see what we can do with there. I have been playing a little bit of Tekken 7 again, just to shake off the rust, because I haven't played it in so long. I'm getting better, but I'm still kind of rusty. But I'm doing fine. I'll be fine for Tekken 8. Yeah, if you have any more comments, like if there's anything I missed that's really important about any of these characters, let me know in the comments. If you want to discuss a character with me, that's fine. We can have a conversation about it. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed my tier list. I'm sorry I had to remake it, but the stream just didn't work. It is what it is. But yeah, that's basically it. So yeah, thank you all for stopping by. This is Falcon, and peace out, guys. See y'all at Tekken 8.